what isn't a prospect, what isn't a thought of idea, what is true, what is fact, is that we are headed to Abu Dhabi with a championship fight. It is Norris. It is Verstappen. It is Piastri. All three of them. And we thought it'd be a two-horse race. No, it is three. Someone counted them out. Someone counted out a certain driver in a Red Bull camp. Someone said there was a 0% chance when he was over 90 back that he has a chance at the championship. That someone is Parker Merrey. So before I ask for your predictions or anything of that nature, do you want to explain yourself?
I will. I owe an apology to all of you viewers here at home because there have been some things said on this podcast, some very dramatic thoughts and opinions. Some from me, some from you, and I do expect something from you later on in the show as well. But we're going to talk about that a little later. But I want to apologize for the viewers because I underestimated how incredibly bad McLaren is. I didn't realize how bad they could be. I didn't know they were this bad to where they cannot pit under safety car. I didn't know they were this bad to where they can't give Oscar Piastri a fast car. I didn't know they were this bad where Lando Norris, a guy who I thought is nowhere near Oscar Piastri's level, can come up and completely take over the #1 role at McLaren. I had no idea that McLaren was this self-destructive, where they go from having by far the fastest car to now being worse than the Red Bull, arguably worse than the Mercedes. I mean, they're getting beat by a Williams at Qatar. Like, a lot of people are going to say I need to give a lot of credit to Verstappen, and I do give credit to Verstappen. I think it's a great comeback from him. But you get the Red Bull car. This is not. I don't think this is quite on the level of say Kimi's 2007 comeback, just because Kimi in 2007 had a worse race car for not only the first half but the second half as well. The McLaren was better. And his competitors were at the time 2-time champion Alonso and at the time 0-time champion Hamilton, but someone who had the best rookie campaign of any F1 driver ever. So I think this says more about just how ridiculous McLaren is. I mean, we knew that team was a little dysfunctional. I didn't know they were this bad. So I owe an apology to the viewers for counting Max Verstappen out because McLaren is just, wow. They've exceeded my expectations for how bad they can fall.
It's funny because I told you in the same breath a month ago, or 3 months ago, not a month ago, 3 months ago, when we had this discussion if Verstappen could make this comeback. And I said to you, I was like, keep in mind that McLaren is known for historically being able to throw away the easiest wins and championships you could ever imagine. We talk about Ferrari. McLaren's right up there. They are the 1-2. One gets one year, next one next year. So watch out for Ferrari next year. But yes. McLaren is historic for this, and they did it to a driver before who was chasing from behind and really should have had zero opportunity at the championship. Now, once again, McLaren has allowed this to be a 3-horse race when it shouldn't be. Obviously, there will be no Spygate this time, but there will be a fight in Abu Dhabi. So, I will quickly ask you, do you think this championship is going to be decided at the end of the race, or do you think that the moment that we hit the ground and we start running cars on the track for practice, we're going to have a good idea of who's taking the championship?
So here is the problem with the championship for Max Verstappen, and the problem is that Lando Norris has Oscar Piastri as a sidekick at this point. I know a lot of people are viewing this title as a 3-horse race. I don't believe it is. I believe that when the time comes to the end of the race, when Oscar Piastri is basically out of title contention, Piastri would need to win the race and hope that Norris and Verstappen both. Well, actually, Verstappen could finish second with Piastri winning, but he would need Norris to finish, I believe, 6th or lower.
Yes.
So he needs a kind of a disaster out of Lando Norris. I don't think that if we get a disaster out of Lando Norris, it's probably going to be Max's title. So I'm not sure how likely it is that Verstappen wins the title, just because if it comes down to the end of the race where Norris needs a position, McLaren can put Oscar Piastri on an alternative strategy to kind of get, not be frowned upon for team orders. And then, they can say, oh, Piastri, we need you to come into the pits for this time. Let Norris through. Norris goes on and wins the title. So to me, this championship, it could very well come down to the end. I think it will probably come down to the end. Red Bull has the best car right now, and Verstappen's the best out of these three drivers. And so to me, I have no doubt that Verstappen's going to win this weekend at Abu Dhabi. But I do see Lando Norris actually taking this championship at the end because all he needs is a podium, right? Let's say first it's Verstappen first, George Russell second. Who do we see outrunning Norris to get third?
It'd have to be his
His
teammate
teammate
in
Oscar
theory.
Piastri?
Yeah.
What?
I said it in theory would have to be his teammate.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going to happen. So then it would come down to, can a Ferrari beat Norris for the podium? I don't think so. Can Carlos Sainz beat Lando Norris for the podium? Don't think so. Can Kimi Antonelli beat Lando
The
Norris
only
for
one
the
who
podium?
could, I think.
Maybe. The Mercedes is probably the second quickest car right now. So
That's a
it kind of
bold
comes down.
statement, but
It's a
continue.
bold statement, but I believe I'll say this: team plus car, Mercedes is second. I'll put it that way. They seem to be, because the team strategy is good, and
I
so
think
that kind of.
McLaren, I will say, I think McLaren is still the fastest car, but I think they are functioning like the third best team of the three. I just,
You
I,
still think they're the fastest car?
I still think they're the fastest car. I think it's close, but I think they're still the fastest car. I just think that Red Bull is functioning better. Mercedes is definitely functioning better. So they're showing how much weaker they are now that we've hit the point in the season where points matter, all this matters. McLaren at the start of the season, they're able to be mistake prone because the championship's still early on. Now, pressure comes on, we see what happens with McLaren. So
I don't know. I feel like that Red Bull's on another level right now. Like we're seeing Max dominate races like he hasn't done all year, and we're seeing Yuki Tsunoda get up in the points like we haven't seen all
we'll
year. I feel like the
look
Red Bull is on another
either
level. But
either way. That part doesn't matter at this juncture because what matters at this juncture is who's going to take the championship, and we got one race to decide it. So I'm gonna ask you this. We'll even say this together so we can find out side by side what we think this will go like. I always ask you for your podium picks, so we're gonna do it. But we're gonna go 1-1, and then 2-2, 3-3. Who do you
okay,
have taking victory in Abu Dhabi?
never mind. So at my number one spot, I'm going to have Max Verstappen taking the win at Abu Dhabi. I think, as I mentioned before, I think Red Bull has the best car. I think Verstappen's the best out of those three, talent wise, driver wise, everything. So I think it's a perfect combination, and it has this race has title implications and title pressures, and nobody has dealt with that except Max of these three. You could argue maybe Norris did last year. I don't think so. I think Verstappen has the experience, speed, talent, and race car underneath him to win this race this weekend.
I'm in agreement. I think Verstappen wins. What is this going to be? His 70? Is this his 70th? 71st?
I'm not sure on the
It's
win
it's
count, but
about
it would
it's
be.
about there, right? Like it's right about there. So Max Verstappen is going to continue to win races, and he will win at Abu Dhabi. Um, I will wait to see and tell you if he wins the championship. I guess you'll find out through my podium if he does or does not. But I'll go first with second place. Uh, I think runner up this weekend is going to be Oscar Piastri. So
Mm.
I think it is going to be Verstappen beating Piastri to the line, uh, on probably a late race safety car, because we know how those like to happen when we have title
Oh,
fights in Abu Dhabi. So I'm gonna go Verstappen and then Piastri.
I don't want to. I will tell you right now, I don't want to see
I don't want it.
Verstappen win a title
I
off
don't want it.
controversy.
I
I would
don't want
just
it. But I'm just
because
telling you.
even though, as you know, I'm not the biggest Max fan, I want to see him get a title, like just off of going out and just beating the other driver. You know what I mean? I don't want to see another 2021 safety car thing. I'd be more than happy if Max goes out there and just straight up beats the McLarens, and there's not a McLaren on the, or sorry, Norris is not on the podium. So Piastri could still get second, and Max would be champion. But anyway, um, my second place finisher, I'm going to go George Russell. I believe the Mercedes is very
Mm.
good right now. And I think the McLarens are going to be very conservative in this race to make sure that because here's the best way for Red Bull to win this championship. If Norris and Verstappen start racing and Max forces Norris into an issue. I mean, we know how Max is. He could be the guy to go for a late move in the corner and hope that Norris, crashes into him, takes himself out of the race. Max is good at putting you in bad situations, and so McLaren is going to be very conservative to stay out of trouble. So I see George Russell having a pretty good race because of that, and I think he gets second in the Mercedes.
I guess then this means the championship does come down to this position, right? Because we both have Verstappen winning. I
Yeah,
have Piastri second. You have Russell second. Still haven't said the name of the guy leading the points. Are you going to say his name for third?
third place. Look, it's been a long time for McLaren. It has. Well, let's think about all the chaos
You're
that
going to
is
drag this out. It's just going to be. Are you going
well,
to.
2012, McLaren has a phenomenal race car, right? It's the quickest car by far, but they don't have the reliability to win that title. 2010 comes down to the last couple races. Lewis Hamilton had a tire issue in Barcelona, arguably cost him the title. Had some incidents. He ended up losing it. Jenson Button just wasn't good enough either at the end. Had a couple late crashes. 2007, the absolute fumble of the century, and I want to focus on 2007 a little bit because I think, as we mentioned, there's a lot of parallels between 2007 and this year. And what happened in 2007? Can you tell the viewers to give them a little context?
Both McLarens with by far the fastest car all season, fighting for the championship. The older driver who is established and trying the clear leader of the team, trying to beat the young driver trying to take over the team and take over the sport, and would have won his first championship at a very young age. With a
Hmm.
third driver lurking in the background all season, didn't really seem like a threat until McLaren started doing McLaren things, and then they became a factor and then won the championship.
Hmm. So it was a Kimi who ruined McLaren's championship hopes that year, right?
Oh my God.
My third place finisher is not going to be Kimi Antonelli. It's going to be Lando Norris. I think Lando Norris comes
Okay.
across the line and the
Okay.
podium
He
place
he
to clinch the championship. I had you there for
man.
a second, didn't I?
Man.
I had you
No,
going there.
I was like I was sitting there, I thought you were gonna give the viewers something to be excited about, and then you just like pooped in their bed. Like I mean that
What?
was just
That was an intense moment. I gave them a lot to
no,
be proud
man.
of.
I mean, like you just got them all excited. You got me excited, and I was like, "Oh, you're gonna say Kimi Antonelli on podium this weekend. That would have been a cool in itself." And then no, no, ruin all the fun. So
Sorry.
whatever.
I just
No,
got to be realistic. You know what I mean? Look,
listen.
I
I
wanted to
understand.
say Kimi Antonelli for the storyline, but I feel like
Listen,
this
I
was just.
understand. I'm not saying Kimi Antonelli gets third either. I understand. I'm not about that. I'm about the fact that I believe Charles Leclerc is standing on a podium this weekend, and that
Yeah.
Max Verstappen is taking this championship. I think
Yeah.
that if you want the one team that can manage to mess up into glory for another team to mess up again, it is the Ferrari. The only team that knows how to mess up as good as McLaren does is Ferrari. So how do you counteract that? By trying to actually be bad and then be good. So Ferrari is going to bring a good enough car for Leclerc to steal another podium away from Lando Norris, and we are going to watch Max Verstappen win his fifth straight drivers' championship in Abu Dhabi. It's poetic, isn't it? Right?
Wow. It is somewhat poetic. There are that's so where do you have Norris finishing?
I have him finishing in fourth.
Wow. Wow. Well, there you have it. There are our championship picks. But before you try to close us off here, I know you're in a rush to get out the door and finish up this podcast because you want to get out of here before you have to address the viewers. But I'm not going to let you. I'm going to stop you before you can get away. Carlos Sainz has been the victim of insane slander by you the entire podcast season. And quite frankly, I'm sick of it. A lot of other people are sick of it. And Carlos Sainz, this past weekend at Qatar, picked up his second podium of the year. How many podiums does his teammate Alex Albon have? Oh, you're not even going to. Okay, okay. Well, yes, Sainz is beating him in podiums. And at this point, he's 9 points behind. He might outpoint Alex Albon after all the talk you were talking up. So I think you might owe the viewers an apology. Are you going to stand on business or are you going to give in to the slam?
There are three things certain in life.
Oh,
There are death, taxes, and there is Carlos Sainz being overrated by the media. I stand on my opinion. I stand on it. I don't think what I said was wrong. Now, I don't think I think what I said got blown a little out of proportion. I wasn't saying he was a bad driver. He deserves his F1 seat for sure. But
Of course,
but
he deserves an F1 seat.
but
That says
there
nothing.
is there are multiple things that I could go on at full length about as to why he is overrated by the media. There is a literal clip of a Sky Sports, I think it was what's it, a podcast or an interview? I don't remember what in particular, but you can look it up. I think it was, I don't remember if it was Damon Hill or somebody. They said Carlos Sainz was the next Nico Rosberg, the next Jenson Button. Keep in mind, two former World Drivers champions, guys who won plenty Grand Prix in their career, and he's saying he's on the same level as them. For what? For what? And that is my that things like that is what leads me to believe that he's overrated by the media. I'm not saying he's bad. He is a smart driver. He in his own mind made the right call at Silverstone when he got his first win. I don't deny that. He outdrove everybody when he won it. Was it Australia last year in the Ferrari? No, yeah. I will give him the credit for his wins, but he is overrated by the media. That is my final stance. I believe he's overrated and that Carlos Sainz is not a top 5 driver in the sport like some people want to say he might be.
Well, let me ask you a question before we close out. Who do you think is a better driver, Carlos Sainz or Alex Albon?
I think it depends on the track. I think it depends on the car. I think it also depends on where in the field they're running, to be honest with you. But
Overall,
I
neutral
will
situation, who's
I
better?
will take Albon. I will take Albon 6 out of 10 times. I think if we ran a 20 race season, I think Albon wins 12-8.
Oh. All right, so I disagree with you on that front, and I'm going to tell you why. Carlos Sainz is a multi-time F1 winner. Carlos Sainz comes into a new team, Williams, which is Albon's home, and the first half of the season went rough. He was figuring out the team, dialing himself in. Second half of the year, he's picked up 2
Look,
podiums
look,
and has
look,
been
look,
wiping
look,
the floor
look,
with Alex
look,
Albon.
look. This is the
I don't
thing.
think there's any way you can say Albon's better.
But this is my thing. I don't think Alex Albon's really trying. I think
Oh
Williams.
my
No,
gosh, what?
I think Williams and Alex Albon, and you can probably Signs too. I'm not gonna deny it. Probably Signs too. They're all focused on 26. What is there left to focus on for this season? We have new regulations coming in. They were obviously starting. They said early in the year they were focusing on a new car. They said that. That's a real thing. You said it. You were the one who mentioned
Yeah,
that.
no,
So
I'm not denying that. But
so
so how does Carlos Sainz have 2 podiums?
I
How is he
think
outrunning Albon this
I
bad?
also think he's better at the tracks that we've ran. I'll be honest. I do think he's better at the tracks that we've ran that he got those podiums at. I'll be honest. I think that's why I said Signs in a 20 race season would beat Albon 8 of the 12 times or 8 of the 20 times. I think that would be I think they're pretty close. I'm not saying that they're far apart, but I think Alex Albon's a little better. Honestly, that's my honest opinion.
Wow. I think next year is definitely going to be because then Sainz will have
Well,
a full Williams year under his belt.
if
Next year is going to be a big year
if
in that
Signs
battle.
goes into next season, as they've both been tenured at the team now, and he destroys Albon, it's a different discussion. But I don't think that'll happen. That's why I am still going to hold on to my opinion. But I actually wasn't even going to end the show on this note. Which was funny, I actually had something else I wanted to say before we ended it out. So,
Okay.
2 things. For one, because I need to get my forever famous full top 10 predictions in here, so let me do that
That's
real
right.
quick. Of course, as I mentioned, we have Verstappen, Piastri, Leclerc on the podium, and Norris fourth. I think Russell will be fifth. I think, I always leave Antonelli out of the top 6. I'm not doing it this week. Give me Antonelli sixth. I will give him his respect. I don't know. I'm confident that the Haas is going to show up a little fast this weekend. I don't know why. So I'm going to go with Behrman 8th, and Behrman 7th, and Ocon 9th. they'll be separated by one car, and that one car will be a Williams. I think Sainz will score this weekend. I think he's pretty good here. So I'll give him an 8th, and I will give a 10th place finish to Lance Stroll. That's who I'm going to go
What?
with. I'm going to go Lance Stroll gets points this weekend. I
Hmm.
wanted to spice it up for our viewers. Um, but yeah, I'm going to go Lance Stroll getting his last point of the season and the last point that anyone will score because he crossed the line last of all the point scorers. So
Yeah.
give me Lance Stroll
Hmm.
for 10th. The other thing I wanted to say before we close out here was, did you enjoy the 2025 Formula One season as it comes to a close?
Absolutely. I think at times it was kind of hard to it's kind of hard for us to like live in the moment and say we're watching a great season right now because I think 10 years from now this is going to be considered a fantastic season of F1. I think it's hard for us because two out of our three championship protagonists are highly flawed, you know. So it's like we're not watching the best of the best right now. We're watching Max Verstappen, one of the best of the best, versus Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, who have a rocket ship but don't know how to use it, and have a team that's super incompetent as well. And so, but I think we need to just put that and just realize, you know, we're watching a crazy comeback. We're watching a three-way title fight in the finale, something that we hardly ever see. We have not seen more than two drivers in the title fight since that 2010 season, where
2012.
we had, of course, four.
Oh, was it 20? Wasn't it 2012? Or was it already out?
What year?
2012?
There's only two that
There's
year.
only two? Okay, I didn't know if it was just
Yeah.
Alonso and Vettel that year.
Yeah, so we have not seen something like this in 15 years. So that this is I think we all just need to step back, take a look at what we've got, and what we've got right now is great. I think the cars are kind of flawed. The racing is not as good as it could be, but the title fight is still fantastic, and so I've enjoyed this season a lot.
Well, that'll do it for me. Unless you got anything else, that is all I got.
I got one thing to say. The ball is not in Max Verstappen's court. It's not in Oscar Piastri's court. It's not in Lando Norris's court. The ball right now is in Carlos Sainz's court. If he can get a fifth place finish this weekend, he will officially outpoint Alex Albon, outpodium Alex Albon, have more career wins than Alex Albon, have a better overall resume than Alex Albon, and he's done all
So that
this
is going to wrap
in
up
Alex
Sideline to
Albon's
Speedway
Williams
here on
team.
episode
No, 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 no.
13
The
of
ball
the
is in his court.
Motorsports. Thank you guys so much for joining me and Parker Merrey once again. And as always, next week we will look at the F1 season that was, talking about the title fight. We're going to surprise you guys with what we do NASCAR-wise next week. We're going to make it a little surprise. Um, we also have an extra surprise on the F1 side because just if you want a little spoiler as to what comes next week, check the date of next Friday and you'll have an idea of what we're going to talk about. So, without further ado, I've been Mekhi Winfrey, joined by Parker Merrey, and we will see you guys next week.
Thank you, guys.